Grand Rising, beautiful beings. It's been a while since I've shown my face and been in the garden and shared with you. A lot has happened in the last few months. And it's so apt that I want to talk about Chapter 2, which is What Do You Eat and Why of a Spirited Life program. Module 1, the Nutcracker. Chapter 2, Matter, Energizing Body. What do you eat and why? I've just come from 3 months of hip pain, and it has a lot to do with the physical body, and also realizing, and I realized this before this happened, but it was so apt for me to experience at a very real level. Your physical body is the greatest influencer on your life experience, and yet we treat it as though it's not even here. We've become quite immature in our understanding of what food is and what our body needs, and most people prefer to eat what they like the taste of rather than what their body needs to actually be healthy and functioning. And that's a very sad state of affairs, because we've gotten into a world where we can have a pill or procedure, doesn't necessarily fix it, because that can create its own consequences in its own way down the track. We don't look at what am I eating, what am I doing, what am I thinking, what am I feeling, what am I experiencing, because all of those wrap up to make your physical experience. The physical body is not separate from the mental body is not separate from the emotional body is not separate from the physical body, and so on. They're all interconnected, all together. And the longer that something sits in your field, in the unconscious mind, in your mental mind, but you're able to talk yourself around it, away from it, sooner or later it'll get to a point where it'll hit the physical body, and that's when you actually end up doing something about it. But sometimes, and this was my experience, it's the suppressed memories, it's the suppressed experiences, it's the really horrendous, traumatic, abusive experiences when you were little that tends to get put behind a closed door. One, because you don't have the vocabulary to talk about it. Two, the shock was so intense that it bypassed the hippocampus and went straight to implicit memory. So we don't have the capability or the capacity to draw on that memory to do something with. It sits in the unconscious mind, waiting for an opportunity to be released, so it doesn't sit in the unconscious mind festering away. So that's what happened for me. I ended up with all sorts of complications with hip bursitis, and it was a mess. I was a mess. I couldn't walk. I had to lay down every day. The pain was intense. I've not experienced anything like it, so my heart goes out to those that live in pain. It was very draining. It was quite a shock, actually, to go week in, week out. It was 3 months of the pain not shifting, and that's when you kind of like get, I don't know, afraid. I was a bit scared, going, what is this? Why is this not shifting? Is this going to be permanent? It's going on and on. So it can be very difficult holding on to hope or the surety that it's going to shift and you're not going to be in the same pain as you were. And last year was very much a huge write-off for me. So many conflicts and confrontations and misunderstandings and lost hopes, shattered dreams. Yeah, dreams that you thought were dreams just to be smashed to be just delusion. But if you've got the mindset that's able to flip things, that's able to see the blessing in the curse, or find the teaching in the lesson, or the silver lining to that dark cloud, it can flip, and it gives you such amazing, beautiful material to actually mature, grow, evolve, understand life a little bit more, become a little more accepting, less judgmental, allowing things to just be. But those mindsets for most people don't come naturally because we're, like I said, we're conditioned not to, our mindsets are quite immature when it comes to knowing what goes into the body and what's going to help it and what's going to harm it. And most people don't give a shit. They just want to eat it because it tastes good, because I like it. And while they're either putting on weight, they're having gastro issues, or they've got joint issues, or all other things going on, still want to do what they want to do. So what do you eat and why? Each person's inner journey is different. However, the journey must be taken, and will be taken by one spirit whether the ego wants it or not. One can suppress, deny, avoid, but the journey will continue nonetheless, even beyond death. Better to have a healthy body, sound tools, supportive kin around you, and an adventurous heart. Then the journey will be much more fulfilling, insightful, and enjoyable. Life is an adventure. Live it. It is health that is the real wealth, and not pieces of gold and silver. That was by Mahatma Gandhi. Take care of your body. It is the only place you have to live. Well, it is. It's nice to have your comforts, nice to have that roof over your head, but it's like you've forgotten the comfort of being in your own body. And instead of, like with me, when I've burnt myself, when I've done my pain, the pain management, no pharmaceuticals, because I know nature has an answer, and it does. All modern medicine has been derived from plants, has been derived from nature, synthesized, chemicalized, is that such a word? And we think because we can get instant relief that it's healed, but that's not the truth of medication either. True healing takes a long time. And anyway. I'm not saying modern medicine, it does have its place, definitely hospitals and doctors, without a doubt. How can we live without them? They are vitally important. But don't forget your inner knowing and your choices and decisions, wants and desires and needs, and what your body is telling you. Both play a role. It's not one way, or it's my highway or the highway. That's not healing. That's not healing. When we look at what we believe, and what I'm saying is I'm no medical doctor either, so I'm just sharing my opinion. I'm just sharing what has helped me, what helped me understand my blocks as to how I was treating my body, because I had IBS for 15 years. I did a lot of damage to my body, but when I look back over my story, I've always had an issue with wheat, even as a little girl. I've always had issues with food, and that goes also hand in hand with being under the spectrum as well. So a lot of things have made sense. That's also what I've been doing with this time, is integrating and getting to know myself with, not with necessarily with a label, but with a deeper comprehension of why I am the way I am and who I am and what I am. And that's been a beautiful journey as well, and realizing no matter what, I've always been true to myself, and in one way, shape or form, even if it was the wounded me, even if it was the toxic me or the codependent me or the ill-informed me, I was always being true to myself. And this is no different. This spiritual life has been my spiritual life. My journey has been my life. This has been my experience. Can't take that away from me. It doesn't make me a fraud. It actually makes me even more real, and it shows me just how long I've been seeking for answers, and finally finding those answers to be able to implement them in a way in my life that it actually makes a change. That's when everything fell into place, and it was like, now everything makes sense. And it's actually made my life even more enjoyable, more care, more compassion, more nurturing, no longer striving, no longer needing to prove. This is just me, and this is just my life. So what I'm sharing is what came to me during my own healing journey about 12 years ago. And this is what I wrote about and wanted to share it with people. I'm not saying this is medical advice, so please don't take it that way. But just to have an open mind and just see if something shifts where you just go, I get that. I might do something different, like eat better. And even they're laughing. When we look at what we believe, we can see that belief in action with what we feed our bodies. When we look at what we believe, we can see that belief in action by what we feed our bodies. For example, time poor. I don't have time to eat healthily. This in itself speaks volumes of your own self-worth and your own self-comprehension, but also where your priorities lie. And that's in bold and italics, the word lie. Priorities lie. Just because you make something a priority actually doesn't mean it's good for you. Just because something is priority doesn't mean it's good for you. There you go. So you value that it is, so you value what it is that is hurting you over doing something that would support and nourish you. So you value what that it is that is hurting you over doing something that would support and nourish your body. Isn't that an interesting realization? By eating your lollies, eating your junk food, eating your soft drinks, eating food that's just a chemical shitstorm in a thing, and you value that over then taking a little bit more time to shift your habits, buy something healthy and eat that, or make something healthy and eat that. What is more important than feeding your body the correct foods, nutrients and water for amazing health and living? Because by doing that, you actually get to keep doing what you want to do. You get to do that. I don't have time because my priorities are some more important. Okay, then eat better, support your body better, then you won't have so many issues keeping up with your priorities, and you won't feel like you're so time poor. Catch 22. Another belief could be that it takes a long time to prepare healthy food to eat. How would you know if you haven't researched and practiced? Once you start, you realize it's not so difficult and it's not so time consuming. You're just resisting the change of a habit. In the long run, it's not as expensive as having to pay a doctor or pharmaceutical companies to try and get better and end up actually worse. We live in an environment that is heavily polluted, and in an age where corporations are slowly poisoning us with their chemical toxic products. If you think all food manufacturing corporations have your best interests at heart, think again. What is wise to remember is that corporation is just a label for a group of people doing business. Corporation is just people doing business that want to make profit, and that's their end goal. By using labels like corporation, it ends up removing the realization that it is people making choices, decisions, and actions that puts profit before people. I'm just going to read this to you. I think the American people should see that the corporations abandoned them long ago. That people will have to build their own economies and rebuild democracy as a living democracy. The corporations belong to no land, no country, no people. They have no loyalty to anything apart from their profits. And the profits today are on an unimaginable scale. It has become illegitimate, criminal profit, profits extracted at the cost of life. Vandana Shiva. Her words. You know, when you go into supermarkets and you see those healthy food sections, go there, do your shopping there, because you've got to think, well, if this is the healthy food, what does that make everything else on the shelf? What also makes it criminal, in my opinion, in my view, is knowingly putting carcinogenic products, meaning chemicals and toxins, preservatives, flavours, colourings, that are actually carcinogenic, that would feed cancer. Sugar is the most addictive substance on the planet. GMO foods, just chemically enhanced. Ugh. Anyway, That's what a lot of companies and corporations do just to make a profit. I know I do. I look at some of the things on the shelves and I go, how is this still allowed? Where is the maturity? Where is the wise? Where is the wisdom that what we feed our body literally will dictate our health? And everybody's different. We metabolize food differently. We've got our own unique tastes and what desires and what we like and what we don't like. So it's not one size fits all. It really's got to be. It's got to be adjusted to suit you, yourself, your bodies, your likes, your dislikes, what my body reacts and responds to, and what my body has real difficulty processing and rejects in a way that I then I don't get IBS symptoms anymore because I finally clicked, changed my habits, changed my ways and got healthy, and 58 zero pharmaceuticals, and I just do good food and supplements and good water and listen to my body. One morning many years ago, a morning show was on the television and they were broadcasting on how medical professions were making lap band surgery the treatment for obesity. If there's nothing else that goes with lap band surgery, that's still a band-aid solution. It's got to be accompanied with education regarding mind-body health and guidance in making healthy choices for the body. It's not so you keep doing what you're doing, which will assist in changing their conscious and subconscious habits and heal. Because, a lot of the times people don't realize it, but what you're drawn to is stress-driven. What you're drawn to is fear-driven. It's a way of self-medicating. What are you self-medicating from or about? It would appear that we, as a collective society, are still ignoring our minds play a crucial role in healing. We know that certain foods are addictive. Refined sugar is the most addictive substance on the planet, and yet while we know this, people are still feeding their bodies with the addictive substance. Too much of anything, and I mean too much of anything, is not good for you. Everything in moderation. Everything in moderation is probably the best advice that may be given for everything, from foods to thoughts, from activities to meditation. So when beginning to change your dietary lifestyle, remember moderation. If we focus too much on one thing, we may deplete our bodies of nutrients needed by excluding other foods. If we do not focus and just eat whatever, we will certainly be depleting our bodies of essential nutrients, trace elements, vitamins and minerals. These are the building blocks to healthy bodies. So this is Bill Hicks's words. If you want to understand a society, take a good look at the drugs it uses. And what can tell, being a bit dyslexic this morning, I'll start again. If you want to understand a society, take a good look at the drugs it uses. And what can this tell you about American culture? Well, look at the drugs we use. Except for pharmaceutical poison, there are essentially two other drugs that Western civilization tolerates. Caffeine, from Monday to Friday, to energize you enough to make you a productive member of society, and alcohol, from Friday to Monday, to keep you stupid to figure out the prison that you're living in. Ouch. Boom. And this is where I just see, and it's like nobody's fault. It's the way we've all been conditioned to live by these concepts that we make construct by actually living them. When you look back to even just over the last 50 years, this modern way of living has not been around long, and yet we're hanging on to it for dear life as if it's the truth, it's the best, and yet when you compare our health and statistics, it is the worst. So how can we think one thing when the actual proof is showing us something else? There is a huge disconnect going on. How do we open up our minds to turn around and go, what I'm doing is contributing to what I'm feeling and doing? And then instead of going into fear, is go into courage and curiosity and hope that what you change is going to actually make a difference in the future. So I did this in my 30s because I knew my future self needed it. If I didn't make changes then, what was I going to be like? And that is what scared me. That's what promoted me. That's what pushed me to go, what's going on? And taking a look at my own thoughts, my own expectations, my own habits, my own drives, to change them to get to this point where I am today. And I'm so grateful because my quality of life now is, gosh, 20 times better. If not, it's just completely opposite ends of the spectrum. In my 30s, I think I ended up close to either 90 kilos or over 90 kilos, heavily overweight. I was a drinker, I was a smoker, I was a gamer, I love games. I was in an unhealthy relationship. I was thinking I was eating healthily because I was eating home-cooked foods. And thinking that you're eating healthy, eating other foods. And it was just contributing to the situation. So they thought I had lupus, I had scans, I had weird stuff going on with my body. I've had lots of things going on with my body. So I've had a hysterectomy when I was 29 from cervical cancer. Then I ended up with head adhesions, which caused trouble. Ovarian cysts over the years, which contributed. Osteoarthritis, scoliosis, sometimes a dicky heart, dicky kidney, but I'm the healthiest and happiest I've ever been. Go figure. So my health and because I just had scans and bloods done because of what I was going through, just to check and double check, and the only thing that was any telling was the inflammation markers were up, and that's like no brainer. I was low in iron and my thyroid was struggling. So just adding iron supplements into my daily routine and thyroid supplements into my routine, like iodine and selenium, has made a huge difference. And hence I've had the energy to come out and connect again and pick up where I left off when I was just before, because I was still in the pain, but just before this all took a deep dive. That's when I had to stop and shift priorities, because my priorities were lying, didn't know it. And in that internal time, in that healing time, getting to see a lot of my own unhealthy habits, my own unhealthy drives and strives and all these different things, to be able to shift and change, to come back to balance, to come back to harmony. And I didn't just do it in my thoughts. That was definitely part of it. Same with my emotions. I had a lot of emotional healing coming up as I was healing childhood issues associated with my hip and all the ramifications that came from it. And I'm so grateful for that, because suppressed memories came up and out. So they became from implicit to explicit, which to me suggests, yay, finally, that's not having some hold on me that I couldn't figure out. So I've been doing all that healing work at the same time as making sure I'm feeding the body the nutrients, trace elements, vitamins and minerals that it needs to sustain its health, and really look at what I've been eating and just change a few things, and that helped to reduce the inflammation. And I've gotten to a point now where I could garden yesterday for the first time in like 3 months. You should have seen it. It was a mess. It was so overgrown, poor loves. And to come back in it today is just wonderful, and to share with the plants again and encourage them to bush up again, because they've gotten a big haircut. I got a haircut, they got a haircut, and we're all growing again. It's fantastic. So it does take effort. It does take determination to change your habits, to change your thoughts, to change what you do, especially eating and drinking into your body. And it's not about going without. Human nature, we're so funny. It's like if we think we're going to go without something, we're going to do it more. So what I found helped me was I started just by replacing it with healthier alternatives that suited me. And that made a difference. And then over time, it's like that just doesn't even become a choice, what I used to buy and eat. I look at it now and you go, you've got to be kidding me. I know what's in that. Which brings me to another point. There is a really good app. I'll put the link in the comments below, called Yuka, Y-U-K-A. And it will scan the barcodes of the products you buy, and it'll let you know what's in it. So then you can make a conscious choice of like, I know what's in this and I'm still going to buy it and I'm still going to drink it and eat it. I can't piss, whinge, moan then about the state of the health of my body because I'm doing it to myself. I've got to take ownership of that. That's really important. To me, that's part of growing up. Being responsible is owning actually what you're doing to yourself and to your body. And a lot of that has got to do with childhood wounds, past hurts, past traumas, past abuses, and our thinking mind, which to me is now corrupted and retarded, thinks is the best way of coping with it. And it's not. It's not the best way. There is a strong correlation between a strong and clear mind and good health. All studies will tell you this, show you this. We see this in action when we are not well. How feeling unwell affects our thinking and emotions. We are matter, but matter is also energy, and energy is not limited to the physical matter. Our thoughts, our emotions emit a frequency, a vibration, and when we are sick, it does affect our emotions and or thoughts, and vice versa. To keep the body in good health is a duty. Otherwise, we shall not be able to keep our minds strong and clear. That was Buddha. Buddha said that a long, long, long time ago. An unbalanced life is a result of how our society, culture, and nations have conditioned us. However, finding a balanced life is an ongoing choice every day. A balanced life is a conscious choice every day you make. Everything in moderation, and you won't tip the scales into an unbalanced life. So it's up to you as to where to find that balance, as to what suits you. And the more you practice that seesaw, the more you will learn and incorporate new habits of what actually helps you find balance. Exercise to be fit, not skinny. Eat to nourish your body, and always ignore the haters, doubters, and unhealthy examples that were once feeding you. You are worth more than you realize. I love that. I'll read that again. Exercise to be fit, not skinny. Eat to nourish your body, and always ignore the haters, doubters, and unhealthy examples that were once feeding you. You are worth more than you realize. That was by The Shift. There is no diet that will do what eating healthy does. There is no diet that will do what eating healthy does. Skip the diet, just eat healthy. And if you can't eat healthy, you've got to ask yourself why. What's that about? And do realize that you will have a sugar addiction. And that's when you understand addictions, that's not something that's just going to change overnight, is it? It's not, well, curing yourself from addiction takes time, energy, focus, determination. And I always find it helps to keep the reasons why you're doing it in the forefront of your mind. So mine was my promise to myself to live a long, healthy, happy life. And when I made myself that promise back then, I didn't realize the complications or the implications or the rabbit holes that I would squirrel down in learning about what healthy means and about what makes me happy. It's been an amazing journey, just those two promises to myself to get to where I am today. So what promise could you make yourself today that you would practice and persevere for the rest of your days? That's the kind of determination it needs. That's the kind of love and commitment it needs. And I knew self-love was part of that journey. Is to love yourself, is to want to take care of yourself. It doesn't mean disconnecting. It doesn't mean you at all costs against everyone else. It's just knowing how to love yourself. How do you love your most cherished and dearest? How do you care for your most treasured? That's kind of like how we've got to look after ourselves. That includes our physical body. That includes our thoughts to ourselves, our feelings to ourselves, our actions to ourselves. And it's interesting, the victim mindset is such an insidious mindset. It's addictive in itself as well. And it comes out in many ways, shapes or forms. And when I've looked back over my story, it's like it's taken me, and I probably still will be, untangling that victim mindset from the stories, the trauma and abuses that I've experienced in my lifetime. And to me, the victim mindset is what holds me back, is what puts me in fear and doubt and bad habits. The victim mindset is what keeps me holding on to the past and what was done. I much prefer to actually learn from those experiences, implement the lessons and the teachings in my everyday, mundane life, because that's where the magic is. That's where you want the change. Not this weekend warrior or your 5-minute spiritual life. It's like in the mundane, paying the bills, chop wood, carry water, cleaning the floors, washing the dishes, cooking your food, making your bed, all these things, your mundane life. That's where we want to experience harmony, balance, love and security. And we can create it for ourselves. It all depends on your mindset, what you believe. Don't believe everything you think. Challenge those thoughts. How can you walk yourself, not leaps and bounds, because then we miss vital steps and we end up back where we started, but baby steps. What's a 1% change that you could implement today that'll start your path to better health? And that's just not physical health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health. What step, what 1% change can you implement today towards that? That 1% change for you today could be downloading that app and then going into your kitchen and scanning the products that you eat and realizing, hey, could this be contributing to how I'm feeling? Because what we do eat can also affect our thoughts, clarity of thoughts, can inflame the brain, can put inflammation in the body, have a reaction that just knocks you on your ass, or you end up with diarrhea or constipation, and then you go and take medication to help soothe either, but keep doing what you're doing, not realizing, because that's telling you, your body's telling you, that's not normal. Your body's telling you what you're doing is having an effect, an ill effect. I need to do something different. Not take a pill or a potion to soothe that, so I can keep doing what I'm doing that's causing that in the first place, because that's going to be doing so much damage to the lining of your gut. It's going to be doing so much damage to other parts of your body. And healing the lining of your gut can be one of the longest, slowest processes, because every time you put something in that triggers it, how's it healing? So sometimes we do need to radically change our diets to give that lining of the gut a rest, so it's not inflamed, so that it can start to heal and repair, because you want to absorb the nutrients. You know, a lot of the fads, they say they eat this because it's got this in it, doesn't actually mean your body's absorbing it. You know, hemp seeds, Australia was the last country in the world to legalize hemp seeds. Why? It's ridiculous. Hemp seeds are so good for you. There is zero psychoactive. They help the endocannabinoid system. The hemp seeds are really good in protein. It's one of the actual best sources of protein our body absorbs. It's got the omega oils in it. It helps reduce inflammation. It helps curb your sugar cravings. Just a few dessert spoons even of hemp seeds every day will start to improve your life, and it keeps you regular naturally. So just doing that change can be a healthy change. Drinking at least a litre of filtered water or spring water a day would also make a change. All these little things that aren't big it's just a matter of setting up a routine that reminds you, I'm going to do things differently now. I'm going to do things in a new way now. So I have alarms on my phone because I can get consumed with what I'm doing and forget to drink water. So that alarm, gives me a break as well. I step away from what I'm doing, have a break from what I'm doing, have a really big drink of water, have a stretch, go to the loo, get something nice and yummy and healthy to nibble on. That helps me, and then I get back to what I'm doing. And so it's like, forget what other people think and forget what you think, because you've got to start a new habit. How are you going to help remind yourself to do this? If your heart's in it and your brain knows it's right, how are you going to help yourself set it up so that it becomes the new norm? Not a fad, not a passing thing, not a diet. It's like a change in your lifestyle, a change in the way you live, a change in the way you speak to yourself, feed yourself, listen to yourself. What's going to help you do that? I did the 2024 Soul Star Oracle for this year, and health, the physical body, is a huge priority because there's going to be lots of changes and transformations this year. And how do we help ourselves deal with that? If we're already on the back foot, I'd much prefer to be on the front foot. That gives me a head start kind of thing. Whereas if I'm ill, if I'm not in good health, then I'm not going to be able to tolerate as much or cope with as much, which I didn't, which was what happened for me. So it really helped me. And this is where you can use whatever's going on for you as a way to get to know yourself better. What are you avoiding? What are you knowing but choosing not to do anything about? And it's like, talk to those parts of yourself and ask why. And don't be shocked by your answer or judge your answer. Stop self-judging. So if your answer comes back, it's like, I just don't want to. I'm lazy. I'm okay with that. Go with that. Accept that. At least you know now. Because it's like the more we disassociate, the more we push away and don't want to know and don't want to admit and don't want to integrate those parts of ourselves, they're going to get our attention some way, shape or form. And in the end, it's usually through the physical body that they need integrating, they need accepting. That's how we become whole. We're not just a one flat dimensional being. We are multi-dimensional beings and multi-layered as well. We've got so many characteristics to ourselves, and because if you've got vast interests as well, that just means you've got different dynamics with different groups of people. We really are interesting, vast creatures trying to live very small lives, and for most of us, it doesn't really suit. So how can you live big in your own life and enjoy that? Well, it's by how you look after yourself in the end, isn't it? So having said that, have a beautiful day. It's good to be back. Do a quick, I can tap the camera around. So I did a pruning. Oh, this is a carrot flower. I had not seen this before, so I let the carrots go to seed, and look at that. Isn't that beautiful? That is the flower of the carrot. So most likely I'll have to do research, but be able to collect seeds. But everything went to flower, which was good for the bees. The heat wave smashed it. Tomato plant's nearly done. Things just got so bushy and out of control. It was amazing. So a good day of gardening and back. And there's nothing better than coming in and what other herbs I want, cucumber, and going and making a really nice salad, a toasted salad sandwich, a wrap, my avocados, zucchini. Look at the zucchini flower. Isn't it just beautiful? Such a bright colour. So have a beautiful day, beautiful beings. Hope all is well. I'll check in again soon. with Module 1 of A Spirited Life, The Nutcracker. Chapter 3 is Engineering Beauty. It's magic. Space is not empty. That's another beautiful realization, that space is not empty. So much going on between us beyond the physical. But again, it's like the more that we can connect in and open our minds, feed our bodies, have healthy bodies, will we then be able to appreciate that space is not empty, and that's where the magic is. Have a beautiful day. Aho, amen, so mote it be. It is done, it is done, it is done.